Hey, welcome to Rhymes with Vegan. I'm your host, Megan Holtgrew. Well, as you can tell, the leaves have fallen. It's brisk out, which means only one thing. That means Thanksgiving's right around the corner. You know, growing up, I never understood quite why turkey was the center of the meal, since I noticed most people like the side dishes. So today on Rhymes with Vegan, I'm going to teach you how to make all those awesome side dishes you grew up with, without the turkey, without the dairy. So loosen your belt and get ready for a vegan feast. Thanks for joining me. Let's get cooking.
You should believe me when I say that.
All right, so today on Rhymes with Vegan, we're cooking up those hearty side dishes you grew to love. We're going to start with my Grandpa Earl's famous stuffing, which is made with a vegan sausage, onions, herbed croutons, and a little bit of broth. We'll bake that, which is delicious. Then we're going to make my mom's famous scalloped corn with some vegan butter, crackers, creamed corn, and a hint of curry. We're also going to make the infamous green bean casserole. I'm going to show you how to make cream of mushroom soup vegan, so you too can enjoy that awesome side dish. We'll also have a baguette with some herbed butter, and then we'll also have cranberries that a friend of mine is going to stop by and help me make, which I never used to like cranberries. The cranberries she makes are fantastic. You'll love it. So to make Grandpa Earl's stuffing, the first thing we're going to do is I halved an onion. I'm going to peel it apart. You want that first layer off. It's kind of tough. So we'll throw that into our bucket. We're going to split this down the middle. We're going to chop this up. So here's a product that I use a lot. Gimme Lean is fantastic. You can use it in biscuits and gravy, anything you'd normally use sausage for. So we're just going to slice off the end of this tube, and we're going to squeeze out our sausage. What we're going to do then is we're going to take this and the onions, we're going to cook it up in a little bit of olive oil. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull little pieces apart on the sausage. We're going to make it into almost like crumbled up little pieces of meat, so to speak. It's a lot easier to cook it this way. So get this all crumbled up. First we'll take our onions right away and get that into the hot oil. While that's waiting, I'll show you what I did here is I poured some of our croutons. This will make the bulk of the stuffing. And I put them in a bowl here, and what we're going to do is we're going to add the hot water. Now you can hear our onions cooking up. Let's give them a stir. All right, we just want to get them so they're a little bit translucent. Just like this. It sticks together. It's a little sticky, so if you don't mind getting your hands a little bit dirty, it's good stuff. All right, grab a little more. And with this, you can salt it a little bit, but you don't need to add too much. A lot of these vegan protein products have a tendency to be a little high on the sodium side, so you really don't need to add too much as you would normally. And they have a tendency to stick together very well because they don't have that fat in them. So without that fat, you know, it stays really cohesive. The fat kind of, it's like when you make a hamburger. You notice your hamburger shrinks up when you make it? That's because it's not very lean. It's got all this fat in it. So this doesn't really have that. Okay, we'll let this sit for a little bit and cook up while we take our water. We'll turn it off just like this. Let's take our ladle. We're gonna add it to our croutons. So, we're just gonna add a little bit at a time. Again, you could use stock, but you just wanna be careful that you don't have too many flavors conflicting one another. There we go. Stir this up. Oh yeah, look at that. Now some people obviously would, you could add different things to it. You could add fruit, you could add different spices that you prefer. You don't have to buy croutons that already have herbs in them, but I like it, it's a lot easier, I'm not picky. I'm not too picky when it comes to this. I am gonna add a little bit of poultry seasoning, which essentially is just thyme, sage, and rosemary. I'll probably take a little handful there, probably a tablespoon. So sprinkle that in there. Stir that up. Oh yeah, the smell is awesome. All right, it looks ready to go. So now let me throw in a little butter, because I'd hate to go without. All right, so now we're gonna make my mom's famous scalloped corn. So you start out with 2 cans of creamed corn. Now don't be fooled by the fact that it's creamed, because there is not any dairy in it. So I put 2 cans and I put it into this bowl here. What we're gonna add is 1 sleeve of saltine crackers. I crushed up really well here. You can kind of see how well I crushed them up. And I just simply used a roller to go over them. And this is what's gonna make it stick together. A little bit of pepper and a little bit of curry. This will be a nice warm flavor. It'll be awesome. So let's mix this up. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab what I'm gonna cook it in, a nice shallow baking dish, and we're gonna just pour it right in there. Flatten this up a little bit. Just like this. Looks good. Let's add a couple dollops of butter, vegan butter. Gotta have the butter. Gives it that rich, creamy taste. All right, so now we're gonna make the infamous green bean casserole, and of course we've gotta make a vegan cream of mushroom soup to go with it. So the first thing I wanna do is I wanna take some vegan butter, take about 2 tablespoons, add it to a pan. Looks like our fat is melted, so now we're gonna add our flour. I'm just gonna add a little bit of a handful right now. I want to get all of it mixed up really well. Now I'm going to add some broth. Now the key to making a good roux is that you want to have a warm broth. So heat your broth up first. And this will begin to thicken, which is exactly what we want. We want to bring it to a little bit of a boil. Then we'll add our cream, then we'll add our mushrooms, some salt and pepper, let that thicken a little bit more. Then we'll pour that in with our green beans, and we'll mix it up with those French little onion pieces. I do something a little bit different too. A lot of people will wait and they'll put the onions on the top. I'm gonna actually layer it because I love those salty onions so much.